All right, so the only problem with this live stream is, of course, I can't see myself in it. It just shows a static picture. So I have no idea where anything is in the view, and I guess nobody can tell if I'm in the camera range. I can check it on my phone. Apparently the other one requires an encoder if you do a previous thing. I have to say that I'm streaming to be a little bit, I thought it would be. Let's see. But yeah, if you guys can watch me. Okay, so I guess I can use this to see how I'm doing. So I wanted to talk about feedback on this is terrible. My Costa Rica orchids, which I have no idea if anyone can see. So I tried to Google this, and it's almost non-existent on the web. I couldn't find any information about these. On one blog post from 2015 where somebody basically got these as a gift from someone, and she immediately took them out of the flask and put them in the sphagnum moss that they came with. And I am not planning to do that with these. I mean, if you look at this one, which is the nocturnum that I got, you can see that they're tiny. Look at them, they're very, very small. And I'm pretty sure they will not survive. I wish I knew exactly where my nocturnum was in this giant morass plants. Yeah, for all I know, it's not alive anymore. Let me see. Let's see. This is, oh no, that's Oncidium. Very sad looking Oncidium. But yes, I don't think these would survive out of flask. My nocturnum is much, much bigger than you. Remove them. Let's see. This plant is growing inside the vial, and it can remain inside anywhere from 2 to 4 months. Well, I'm not going to leave. I take them out now, and we'll see where they are in 2 to 4 months. I will do an update on that. So we'll see how it goes. So let me see. Anyways, yeah. So I had the only one that's kind of big enough. This. These guys were downstairs in my kitchen. It is currently, well, it's minus 19. Woke up this morning, and now at 11 a.m. it says that it is negative 16 degrees in Chicago. So pretty cold. So yeah, it's just, I was going to kind of do an update about how my orchids are doing in the snow. It's currently, got a chair. It is currently 70 degrees in my orchid room. I know a lot of people are really concerned for themselves. You know, you got this polar vortex coming, and how do you keep your orchids warm enough? And I would say that the best way to keep your orchids warm is a wonderful, wonderful sun that has come out. You can see it's sunny in here. There's sun on my face. The sun is shining. It's coming through the glass. It is warming up this room. I am cheating a little bit. You can tell in the background that my room is attached to a house. And the door is open right here, so it's a little bit of the house heat in. I have just electric heat in here, baseboard heat. And so I just try to keep it above 50. I'm sure it's working very, very hard. but that's all I have in here. So really, I am warming this room with sunlight, the most powerful heat we can have, actually. So, and it does a really, really good job. One of the things that I saw in Costa Rica were these solar dryers. They built these drying areas, they covered it in like poly, and basically, so that kept rain off of it when it would rain, but basically, and then it would have open sides, and then you would just use the sun to dry your clothes. And very low wattage, and they have lots of sun because it's close to the equator, and even during the day, if it's cloudy and the sun is out, it's nice and bright. So I am warming my room with the sun. You can probably hear the foggers, my foggers going. It's about, I've got, I don't know if you can see the like humidifiers going in front of the camera. So I wasn't gonna water today because I thought it'd be too cold, but then I came in here at 70 degrees. And so I thought, hey, I can go ahead and give my orchids a little bit of water. So that's how I'm warming up this room. And I have to say that 7 degrees when it is minus 16 Fahrenheit outside is pretty nice. And I can tell that no one's watching. Everyone's like freezing inside their house. So this was an interesting experiment. Couldn't really share it on Facebook. Try it again. Share it live. So yeah, I'm pretty sure most people are buried under blankets. They don't care about orchids today. I'm not sure I approve of how this live stream works on my laptop. I like it much better on my phone because then I can see actually what's going on. So I guess what I'll also do is I'll hold out some orchids so you can see what's blooming. You can just try to take them off my shelf. I have put a chair here. Oh my goodness, all right. So this right here is a division. I divided this dendrobium last year. This is springbird kirishiki right here. It's in bud. This one's not blooming yet. And I guess it could really use to be watered. I'm just gonna stick it on the fogger for a minute and let the fogger water it. And then I'll just take it off, hopefully the fogger. Oh, it's falling over. But I have another one. All right, so this is another piece of that division right here. Yes, I'm picking the leaves off. And you can see that it's blooming. And it has like these cluster blooms. So you can see these are buds. And these flowers are blooming. So that's springbird kirishiki. Oh no, I knocked the bud off. Oh, all right. Now I'm sad. I knocked the bud off replacing it. Not that that didn't have lots of buds. All right. I did bring these up for the live stream. I got in Costa Rica not just two little test tube plants, but these books right here. Orchids of Costa Rica by J. Francisco Morales. And I used these to ID most of the orchids that were in my videos from Costa Rica. However, if you look right here, you can see that these are only volumes 4 and 5. And so I could not find the other volumes in Costa Rica. These cost me about $10 each. So when I came back, I went to Amazon and I ordered volumes 1 through 3, and they were like $40 each. So it just tells you how much more expensive stuff is here if you can't get it on site. But these are really good books for identifying stuff. So if you looked at my Twitter, not my Twitter, my Instagram, I had this, it was the Epidendrum pinniferum that I posted when I was at Las Cruces. And it's in this book. It wasn't in the other 2 books. So I haven't de-shrink wrapped volumes 3 and 4 yet, but if I ever go back to Costa Rica, I'm taking these with me so that I can identify all the orchids that I see. Hello, Pinto. You've been chewing my plants. So I guess this was a good test. Just probably delete this video afterwards. It doesn't seem to be very good. Oh, wait. Nico says, I think no one is watching because nobody knew about your live stream. Oh, that's because, Nico, I was just testing this out for fun. So, nothing to do today in Chicago because it's freezing, and if you go outside, you're gonna get frostbite. And if you don't die, all your body parts are gonna like turn black and fall off. So I'm just trying to enjoy my warm orchid room. Don't know if anyone. I had to turn off my phone because, like, believe it or not, I got feedback. This is Encyclia polybulbon right here. You can see it, it's in bloom. It blooms off every new growth. It's got some additional new growths right here that you can see have sheets on it that I'm sure will bloom later. It's really gorgeous when you can get it all to bloom at once. And hopefully I can take this out without causing any more buds to fall off my various orchids. It's still kind of dry. I guess I should put it back in and let it water the other side on the fogger. Don't fall over, little plant. So that's the other thing that's kind of intriguing is that the chat does not show up. Let me see. There we go. There, now the live chat is showing up. So I can see when people like type a message. So let's see. More plants that are in bloom. I have, get this little guy out. This guy's been blooming for months. And these guys are all attached. So this is right here is a Tolumnia. So this is Tolumnia Gyrac Rainbow Big Red, and it's from Tazula Plants. And Tazula just got in these flasks that need to be deflasked immediately, and the flasks look awesome. I have nothing against their flasks, but again, minus 16 degrees outside. And I wouldn't dare ask them to ship to me right now because I'm pretty sure all the flasks would die in transit. So no, so that one's pretty dry. So I'm gonna water it really quick. My mister. I've been really bad about watering this fall because if you saw my video about how all the orchids froze outside, I really had to dump a lot of plants. And so it's a little depressing when lots of your stuff dies. And so I haven't been watering. So of course more stuff is gonna die. It's like a vicious cycle. You are losing plants, so you're too depressed to take care of your plants, and then more plants die. And then of course you're still more depressed and you don't water them, and then more plants die. And so the best thing about that, I guess, is that I wanted to cut down 150 orchids and have less of them. And now I will, because they're all going to die. Oh, and I got a cat. Hello, cat. Yes, my cats like to come in here. It's warm for them. They think it's awesome. And then they come and chew my plants because Pinto is a jerk. And here, like I was watering this morning and I saw this. Look at this right here. Feel that? That's Pinto. He eats them. He eats them. It's amazing. I mean, you know, between not watering them, the freezing, and Pinto, I'm just going to lose tons of plants this winter. So, oh, Nico has. Oh, you want to know about, I don't have a Walkeriana, Nico. I have a lot of mounted Cataleas right here, like lots. Let me see. Take some stuff out. Of course, it's the wrong time of year for anything that's like Cattleya to be really blooming. So let's see. I don't have any Walkerianas. I have some really sad, dry. This one is one that I got, Cattleya guttata, bar cerulean. I mounted it. It also looks really dry. Again, that whole depressed, not watering. Now my orchids are really dry problem. Yeah, I don't think I have a single Walkeriana. You know, Walkerianas can be really expensive depending on the breeding. And so it's one of the reasons I never got into Walkeriana. Oh, what is the Cattleya is one of the first ones I touched. Ooh, let's see. This one? This is Noblor. This is actually, somebody gave me this one because he wanted to like get himself some new plants, so he was cleaning out a little bit. So I was happy to take his readings. It's purple, I think. It's a Noblor Pink Lady. I have not gotten it to bloom again, but it should bloom. Let me see. So last year I got this in April of 2018. It had just finished blooming. I would expect it to bloom again this spring. It needs more water too. Like everything I own needs more water. I just spray it. But that one's from Bill Rogerson. He has a greenhouse, and I have no idea how he's keeping his stuff warm right now. Yeah, so that's Noblor. That was just actually, what about the Noblor? I was walking through his greenhouse. He was supposed to give me, let's see, let me see if I can find this one right here. So I'd gone over to his house to get this Eclandier, because I've tried to grow Eclandier a whole bunch of times and failed. And he was going to give me this tiny little Eclandier. And then, you know, how can I go to someone's greenhouse and not look at their greenhouse? I was like, can I see your plants? Please, please, please. And so he said yes. So went through his greenhouse, and it was spring. And so he was basically deflasking and bringing out baby plants, and he needed to make space. And then suddenly I was holding like 10 plants in my hand, and he was like, here, take this, and here, take that. And I wasn't going to say no. So That's how I came upon the Nobilor. It was like an add-on to the Eclandier. Now, this little Eclandier has not bloomed again. The only Eclandier that I've gotten to bloom is this one. There are photos of it, as you can also tell, of it on my Instagram. It's also dry, so dry. Everything is so dry. Let me water everything now while I'm working on it. It's still got good roots. You know, thank goodness it gave me stuff that was really, really vigorous. Even though it's really dry, it's still alive. There. So it'll survive the freeze because watering it right now. Oh look, this is it's not even a plant on it. Either that or it's fallen off because Pinto ate it. So that way I can take that down. What else do I have? I have a lot. I usually mostly grow hybrids, and I have a lot of hybrids in bloom right now. And I'm totally taking this as a chance to water my orchids. Oh, so do you have any Sophornitis? Sophornitis crosses. I don't. Everyone seems to think that I have a Sophornitis cernua, and I don't. Everyone keeps going, how is your cernua doing? And I don't remember owning a cernua. I wouldn't mind owning cernua because the cernua is super cute, but I'm pretty sure that I don't own a cernua. It's definitely not something that's coming into bloom right now. Again, I have a lot of stuff that's SLC or formerly SLC. That's small and stuff not in like the dead zone. So let's see, what do we have that's SLC? And I have like Spanish moss coming up the wazoo. This makes me bring out all my plants that are on my shelves. You get to see all the stuff that's like dying and not making it like this. Or maybe it's making it, but the new growth on it is brown. You can see because it's it froze. I froze so much stuff. Oh, this is not enough to see. This is a willet wall cross. Okay. So I don't know if this is a Sophrolelu cattleya SLC. I would guess it is because it's got this tiny little flower on it. I got to get all the spider webs off of it. So here we go. So yes, this one's from Sunset Valley Orchids. It's, oh my gosh, I can't get the tag out. It's like grown into the roots. It's Donna Passa something by Tropical Star. But this one's in bloom. It's got Sophornitis in it. And yes, Hash, I am in Chicago. Last check, it is minus 16 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so really cold. But let's see. Tidy, Sophornitis, a little further. So Nico says, I'm just afraid of their roots because they might be a little bit tidy and go everywhere. So depends. It depends with the Sophornitis. I would say how humid it is and how you're growing it. The Sophornitis cross, you can see the roots are pretty much inside the pot. I'm not really having it go out. And then comment from MPH for me. It has to be hard trying to keep humidity up in the cold. How do you do it? Okay, so I believe in humidifiers. I love humidifiers. I do humidifiers. Fix, they're cheap. They only last about a year. So every year I buy new ones. And I like warm mist humidifiers. Okay, it is 70 degrees in here, and I have two warm mist humidifiers going, and that both humidifies my room and it heats it up. The other thing that I use is foggers. And I'm going to tilt a little bit so you guys can see my racks, and you can kind of see the mist coming off of them. So I use foggers, and foggers, the ultrasonic foggers, they vibrate the water, and when they do that, that actually heats up the water. So they both humidify and heat at the same time. In the winter inside, which is how when I use things that increase humidity, not just the ambient air. In the summer, I take these guys outside, but in the winter, I keep the humidity up with things that also generate heat at the same time. So I do not use cool mist humidifiers, which have a fogger inside and they spray the mist around. I know everything I do generates heat. So if I put my hand, let me show you how if I put my hand over here, I can actually feel heat coming up off the foggers. I went to this new fogging company this year. So before, most of my foggers only last about a year, and I would get them from Amazon. I'd just get the cheapest ones, but then I thought this year maybe I would get better humidity. I'd get more humidity if I got really expensive foggers. So I bought one from House of Hydro, and just one, because right when I ordered mine, they had some massive fire and a whole bunch of their stock got burnt up. And so I was actually just afraid to order more, because what if they couldn't meet demand because, you know, like fire. So that I think it's a 6-port fogger that I got from House of Hydro that I'm trying this year. It's really powerful. I had to put it in a plastic Rubbermaid container because it generated so much fog. And I basically, when I run it, which I'm doing right now, it just puts water everywhere. Let's see. So Nika says you have a lot of Cattleya or related. Use a grow light for them in the winter. So no, Nico, I don't use a grow light for my Cattleyas. I'm using sun. So I grew, when I first started, under lights. And I discovered that here in Chicago, or actually before I was in Philadelphia, that in the winter, it didn't matter how much artificial lighting I put on, it was not enough. So when, right before we had the housing crisis in the United States in 2008, I took out an excessively large mortgage and I built myself a sunroom. So I used the housing boom to my advantage to get myself a wonderful, wonderful grow space. I'm just going to turn around the laptop so everyone can see the glass. So I'm using the sun. It means that right now, sunrise is like, I want to say around 7 something, 6, 7. And, you know, sunset's like 4. I checked this morning and I have around 9 hours of sunlight a day right now. And that's plenty for these guys. It's not as good as, say, Costa Rica. I was just there and I was looking at their Cattleyas, and wow, that was amazing. I mean, you know, they're big and they're growing around the palm trees, and they get about 12 hours light in the winter and in the summer. I can't do that, but 6 is enough to get these guys to bloom. So let's see. Oh yes, so there is some, yes, MPH for me, there is some mist flowing. So I have my laptop plugged into an outlet and it's sitting on a table, and I don't have a lot of outlets in this room. So the laptop is sitting right in front of a warm mist fogger. I mean, not so fogger, warm mist humidifier, one of the Vicks ones. And so it's misting right now. And that's the mist that you see come through, probably most likely up on the side of the screen. I love warm mist humidifiers. You know, they're really good if you have a lot of respiratory problems as well. I basically started with warm mist because, you know, I had a child with asthma and they recommended doing that, especially in the winter when it's drier, it's harder for her to breathe. And then, you know, I was like, hey, I have this growing area, it's right off her bedroom. I can humidify her and I can humidify my plants at the same time. But I do really like foggers, and all my stuff that needs to have lots of frequent watering, I put on the fogger. So that they get fogged, they get a lot more regular watering all the time. Anything, that's why like all my mounts are hanging over here against the rack like this, so that you can see just the ambient humidity is higher over here. Now the whole room isn't like that. I only have one shelf that is covered in foggers. And like I said, the foggers like will stop working. And so like I have one that's just not doing as well. It doesn't seem to fog all the time. And I'm probably gonna have to replace it soon. So let me put this back and see if I can find another orchid in bloom for everyone to look at. Oh, things falling off. I love reaching into my shelves and then just having leaves fall off. And I think, okay, was that gonna die before or did I just kill it? Oh, dear, dear, dear. I don't even know if you guys can see me, because I can't actually tell what's on the video. But I have here, there's a plant. Oh my goodness. All right. So this is my Coleogene confusa. It has a whole bunch of blooms. Some of them are fading, like this one's old, it's going, but it only, per spike, it usually only puts out 1 or 2 flowers, but it blooms like all the time. It blooms all year round, blooms off every new growth, and this is a nice size. Actually got this through the Illinois Orchid Society. Someone brought it in to donate and then divide. And I am thinking, since I want to get rid of 150 plants, and we're going to have an auction to benefit conservation in 2 weeks, and I've been asked to donate some plants, that I might donate this to the auction. I can't decide if people would like it or not, you know, because I would like to raise a good amount of orchid conservation in Illinois if I donate stuff, or when I donate stuff. I'm definitely donating stuff. What else do I have that's in room? It's not gonna cause some kind of all right, so this is my Don Herman Freckles. I divided it last year, so I have a second division of it. This one's just got 2 flowers on it right now. I may have to get rid of the other divisions. Maybe I'll donate that one. But, you know, you always want, when you donate stuff for people for an auction, you always want it to look nice. And I have to say the other division, which is right here, does not look as nice. All right, so this right here, I believe, is Massepadelia Prince Charming. It's been in bloom since the fall. You can see here some old bloom spikes right here. But it's still blooming. I mean, its presentation isn't super awesome because it's just been sitting on the floor. But I love the color on this, if you can look at it in the sunlight. So this is one of the Massepadelias I stole from my sister. It's good size. I reached into, she's had a huge pot of this, and I reached into the pot. I love to tell people this, and I just ripped some of the plant out and I brought it home in a Ziploc baggie, which I feel is one of the best ways to get plants, is taking them from your relatives. All right, so try to bring them out because they're awesome. Is my Kingianum hybrid dendrobium. Let's go and get them out. Let me get them out all. Do you even know which ones are in bloom? They're wet. They're all wet. Without popping all the buds off. That's another try. So here is one of my Kingianum hybrids. This is supposedly straight Kingianum, Stardust by Season's Greetings. I got it from Hauserman's, and I am extremely dubious that it is straight Kingianum because look at how big it is. So most of the Kingianum species that I've seen, the plant itself is much smaller. The only problem is that I don't have any for comparison that have grown up because all I have are kikis that people have given me, and a lot of those kikis have not bloomed yet. And they aren't doing as well because, again, no watering because I suck. That whole not water this fall thing. Oh no! That didn't end the stream. But I'm gonna crack them. I take them out to show them off. This smells amazing. Very floral. My grow room smells amazing right now. And I have at least 2 more in bloom. So let's see if I can get them out. I did, look at this. I popped a flower off, trying to take it out. Oh, poor little flower. Whenever I do this and I pop a flower out, I wish I could do pressed flowers. Because then I'm like, what will I do with it? All right, so I have here just one flower on it. A Jonathan's Glory Dark Joy right here. Yeah, so Nico says that he saw specimen Kingianums at Orchid shows, and they all have canes half the size, and they do. That's why I think that one's a hybrid. I don't know, like maybe cross with Delicatum or something like that, or maybe it's really a Delicatum. So let me see. So like this here, no flowers. Another lost flowers. This right here is supposedly an Alba Kingianum. Right here, I'm dropping flowers and trying. So like, it's not blooming. I don't know. I don't have a lot of success blooming. This one's from Nats. I think I got it last year because I really wanted an Alba. And I don't know if it's going to bloom. But you can see it's a lot smaller, right? I mean, it's a lot smaller. And, you know, you could say, oh, well, the Albas are always smaller. But, you know, as a plant, it's a lot smaller. So I'm just really dubious. That one from Hauserman's is actually just straight Kingianum. So let's put you down. Get all the... I got you again! Oh no! Oh no, you gotta get kissy. All right. So let's see. This doesn't seem to have any spikes. This is definitely a cross. It's from Nats. I got it last year. It wasn't blue when I bought it. It's Ho Emmy. And Ho Emmy is supposed to be speciosum by Kingianum. Yeah, that whole tray is like wet. Trying not to drip everywhere. The floor in here is extremely cold. I'm wearing slippers. So what do I have here? Okay, so this is okay. This is a division of that stardust. And it's in bloom, not surprisingly. I think definitely I will donate this one to the Orchid Society. I mean, look at it. It's awesome, right? I mean, who wouldn't want this? I mean, you'd bid on this in an auction, wouldn't you? I mean, I think, yeah. So put that one aside for donation. But let me see. But like here. All right. So this is. Oops. I'm gonna fall and kill myself. It'll be all like live on camera. So this is a Kingianum that I got from my sister. It's a Kiki. And all the Kingianums I've seen at shows that are specimen size, they're this size, right? Now I need to get these to bloom, but that's why I'm like, I don't think that big thing is Kingianum. So let's see what else I've got. In bloom. Okay, so this one has been in bloom. And this is okay, so this is supposed to be Jonathan's Glory Dark Joy right here. That's a Kingianum cross. Again, it's a big, right? Big. Two of those. Maybe I should donate the other one. But this one, you can see it has old spikes. I had cleaned out the spikes last year after this was done blooming. This I got from an Illinois Orchid Society member. It's blooming. But yeah, so I know that these are things that bloom this year. A lot of my Kingianums start blooming in December around Christmas. Oh. All right, so now I have another Hoaemi. Did I buy two or is this a division? I have a suspicion I was crazy and I bought two because I don't keep track of what I bought. But this one's not doing very well, so maybe I'll get rid of it. It's supposed to be Red Angel. Yeah, I think I bought two. Yeah, this is why I need to cut out 150 orchids. Well, hello to Hidden Harvest Grow Lights and Bree Lawrence. Thank you for hanging out with me today in Chicago while it's really cold. All right, let me see. What else do I have? All right, this one is a real disappointment. All right, this is not a Hoaemi. This is Hamana Smile. All right, I've owned this for I want to say like 4 years now. I got it from Nats. It's had a little bit of like frost damage. But you know, I got clean. I've never gotten this to bloom. I have never gotten this to bloom. So, you know, and you're like, okay, could it be like virus or whatever? I don't know. But the damn thing doesn't bloom. I don't know. It's very disappointing. Because I've had it a long time, and it's definitely big enough to bloom, but it hasn't. That might be a cull, a non-blooming cull. You know, things can only stay so long and really don't bloom if you're around. All right, the final one in this tray. so this is Specio Kingianum natum. So you can see when you have stuff crossed between speciosum and collar, right? It has it's a little bit darker than that other one from Halserman's. So if you look at it, oh, I'm still dropping flowers left and right. So if you look at it, so see the flowers on this one, the Hauserman sold me that was like Kingianum is much lighter. Whoop. Oh my gosh, I've dropped more flowers down here. I let flowers everywhere. I should like get a bowl of water and float them in there and make it decorative. So here we go. 2 flowers together. Let's see, can I get any more stuff out for people to see? All right, I'm just snapping buds off. The bud snapping frenzy here. Poor little bud. Poor little bud. All right, and my feet, my slippers are wet now. So now I have to like take them off, put them on a radiator dry. Oh my God, the floor is so cold. Ow, 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 ow. Let me say that again. Ow, so cold. My floor is not heated. So what else do I have that is in bloom that I can share with people? That I can get off my shelf. I have a bunch of standard cattleyas that are in bloom at the top of my shelf. They're kind of fading now. And I will tilt a little bit so people can kind of see them. I don't know if people can see them way up there. Those hints of purple. But I don't think I can get them off my shelf. It's not exciting, I'm sure. And yes, all right. I have a Kingianum on the floor here, and I keep walking by it. And every time I walk by, like more flowers fall off of it. So I think I'm gonna have to carry it around with me right now while I put things back, so that I stop knocking all the flowers off of it. Because I guess I'm stupid and destructive of my plants. So at least cleaning it out told me I had like 3 plants that I can give away to people. That was a good thing. So the auction, the Illinois Orchid Society, is in 2 weeks, or so not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that. And I don't know who we're donating money to, but the idea is that society members will bid on donated plants, and then all the proceeds are going to go to a group that does orchid conservation in Illinois, because we are the Illinois Orchid Society. So I've now picked out one, well, at least one. I don't know if this is suitable as an auction plant because it's got some funky leaves right here. Makes me a little suspicious of it, and I think perhaps, I think it's frost damage, but you know, funky leaves. So I'm going to set it aside. let's see, can I get into, I have huge numbers of Richard Mueller's. This is one. This is Memoria Bernice Foster. And it's in bloom. You can actually see on it where I lost all the additional flowers off of it because of the cold. So it was supposed to have flowers here. You see there's no flowers there. So I lost all of those buds to freezing my plants this fall. I also lost a lot of my Cymbidium encephalium, which is very sad. Let's see. I think I've shown, okay, I'm not gonna take those up. I have an amethysta glossa that's in bloom. Tilt. I don't know if people can see it. That's my amethysta glossa and my holy night blooming down there. It's one of the reasons I'm having a hard time walking around on the floor is I have a big area of dead plants that I'm. Oh, let's see. Okay, Nico's got a new question. How are your Catasetum? So my Catasetums are mostly dormant. Here's one. This is, you can see it's just going dormant right here. Let's see, this is Philidoris by Catasetum upper echelon, right here. It's dormant. I have one right here, blooming itself for the first time, only one flower. This was my freebie. I did Fred Clark has like a holiday sale or a dormant Catasetum sale, and I got this last year during it, so it's got a little freebie tag in it. And this is Fred Clark After Midnight by Catasetum Orchid Glade. Don't know what this flower looks like yet. Because it's the first time it's blooming for me. And hopefully I won't drop it and break the bud off before it blooms. A lot of my other ones are just totally dormant. Like, see this one right here is totally dormant. I have a few more. I don't even know if they're alive. I haven't really watered any of my Catasetums like since, I want to say November. And I have a couple of them because to make sure that I don't water them, I put them on like very tippy top shelves, and they for sure have not been watered. And I can't even see them. Let me see if I can see them. Again, lack of room here. They are not. They're not blooming. Hopefully they're not dead. The bulbs still look fat, but I can't even reach them. They're way around the front in full sun. And then I have one Fred Clark After Dark that's blooming. I will share it with everybody because I'm very proud of it because it put out a second spike. So this one is my Fred Clark After Dark Black Pearl, and the dry spike bloomed in December. And then I noticed that as that bloom was finishing up, it put out a second spike. It was about 2 inches big when I saw it, and it has grown all the rest of it down here since December. I think it's going to start opening up soon, and I'm very excited to see it. So mostly dormant Catasetums and just a few still trying to bloom. unless I, of course, drop this trying to return it and it falls, and then I'll be a very sad bunny. Mary G wants to know, what did I do with my orchids from Costa Rica? Okay, so they're still in their little flasks. Mary G, I am not going to take them out of flask anytime soon. I'm thinking anytime in the next year. So I have deflasked orchids before, and I have videos that show me deflasking orchids and then planting them out. And they're really weak. You know, these are really small. They're really weak. This is even getting a little humid because I had these downstairs. And since it's -16, like my downstairs is only like 55 degrees. And I was a little concerned that it'd be too cold. So I brought these guys upstairs for the day. But I mean, this one's getting a little tall, but you know, I pretty much want to leave these in the nutrient solution for as long as possible, because I think if I deflask these at the timeline they give, which is 2 to 4 months from when you buy it, I think they're going to die. And for sure, my Epidendrum nocturnum, so right here, I took it out of its little box. These are way too small to deflask. This one, for sure, I'm going to wait until the plant hits the top of the container. And then, only then. The biggest thing I'm concerned about with these guys, of course, is that, you know, glass is going to concentrate heat. So I was concerned about having them in my grow area during the day. It is currently, with the sun shining here, 71 degrees, according to my temperature. And I don't want them to get super hot. If they're too hot, they're just going to die from the heat. So I did have them downstairs where the ambient temperature was cooler. But again, today is so cold that I was concerned that they would be too cold for them. So I brought them upstairs. And then Mary wanted to know, what did you do with your orchids when traveling to Costa Rica? So when I was in Costa Rica, my orchids sat in this room and nothing happened. They didn't get watered. I was gone 10 days and they sat here. Whatever ambient humidity there was, it's about 30% if I'm not running my humidifiers. And then when I remembered, I tried to beg family members to fill my humidifiers. And supposedly they did get filled a few times. But basically, I went with the concept of benign neglect while I was gone. That it was safer for them to sit here and for nothing to happen than for me to ask people to water them and have them be drowned while I was gone. It's also less work that way. And usually when I travel, that's what I do, and it's worked out so far. Okay, so Nico's asking, going back to Cataleas, have you ever tried to induce them to make more new growths per pseudobulb? Or did you indeed take in a sharp knife and cut through a pseudobulb, trying to induce back bulbs to put out new shoots and to bloom on them? Because a lot of Cataleas, especially the hybridized ones, like to bloom on every new growth. I have never been very successful with that. You have to cut through enough of the pseudobulb so that it's kind of like a separate plant. You can activate a dormant node. And second, about 6 years ago, I started competing my orchids, and cutting through pseudobulbs like that to induce blooming is technically cheating, because now you don't have one plant in the pot, you have two. And so I don't do that. That's really what I've done. I've never done growth hormones. When I first started growing, I tried growth hormones and I never found them to work. So I just let these guys grow naturally. What I found to make things grow really well in Costa Rica was heat. It's warm, okay? Humidity, there's a lot of water there, and sunlight. They get 12 hours of sunlight, or almost 12 hours of sunlight, 365 days a year. And it's warm, and there's a lot of water, and that makes stuff grow. They're attached to the trees. If you look at my video where I'm at the Orchid Botanical Garden in Margarita, that basically stuff grows because it has a great environment. You know, plants need 3 things: light and water and warmth. And if you provide those, or at least for cattleyas, those are the 3 things I need. If you provide those, they grow. They grow like gangbusters, and they bloom like only 9 hours of light today. And I give supplemental lighting, but with artificial lights, LED, fluorescence, high-powered sodium, that can duplicate the sun. So I just give my orchids the sunlight that's coming down right now, and that seems to make them happiest. Okay. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Mary says, "Oh, tell us about Costa Rica." And then Nico says, "No cheating. I was thinking to put something dark and opaque on the latest new growth and make the plant think somebody ate its new growth." So what I found is that if any part of the plant is getting sunlight, the whole plant thinks it's getting sunlight. So if you just cover one part of it, that doesn't work. Plants don't work that way. As long as the plant is connected to other parts of it, it all talks to itself. Plants use things like starches and auxins to crosstalk across the plant. So covering itself, like covering a new growth, is not going to make any difference. That's for Nico. For Mary G, oh wow. I tried to just show video in Costa Rica. I love orchids. And so I don't know how much people notice orchids in Costa Rica because they're like everywhere and yet not anywhere. I mean, people go there and they say like, oh, I can see the palms and I can see, you know, the bananas because they're big. Those are big plants. But if you get up close to them, you'll see that attached to the trunks of all these plants are orchids. The thing that impressed me the most is what I went to Las Cruces Biological Research Station, and they had all these orchids in their collection, and they were all from people basically, you know, cutting down cocoa trees or, you know, taking down fences, and these orchids were attached to them. So they just donated it to the biological station because you were not supposed to collect them. You need a government permit to do wild collecting in Costa Rica, which is again why, you know, I have just little test tube babies that came home with me that will be test tube babies for a long time. And I really suspect that one of the reasons that there's almost no information about this forest princess real orchids from Costa Rica on the internet is because people take them out, you know, they give you a little bit of moss, and in the bigger kit, I had a little pot with it, and people get them and they're like, oh, I'm gonna take them out right away. And they take them out and then they die. And then no more orchid, right? So anything that's growing in sort of like this in vitro lab-like situation, I wanna leave it in there as long as possible. And so, yeah, I'm really not gonna take that, but that's the other thing is like, you know, those things have come to my much crappier environment than Costa Rica. You know, less humidity. I mean, it didn't matter. Went up the mountains, right? So like in the lowlands, where I was seeing dolphins and whales, and where, you know, it's hot and humid, it's like 80% humidity in January there. And then I went up the mountains, you know, 1,100 meters, which is where Las Cruces was, and that had 60% humidity, all right? And it was like 65 degrees. And that's like normal, like all year round temperature. And then I went up to Monteverde and it was still 60 degrees. There was still 60% humidity in the cloud forest. You know, their big problem there is that the cloud forest is too sunny now, right? The cloud forest, I went there and I had beautiful weather. I had sunshine like you're seeing right here. Can't tell, I got super, super tan while I was in Costa Rica. But the cloud forest is supposed to be filled with clouds. And I think that was the saddest thing And I saw going to Costa Rica. So I went to the cloud forest, there were no clouds. It was sunny. It was sunny, sunny, sunny. And yes, the world is beautiful when it's sunny, but the cloud forest is supposed to have clouds. And that's what brings the moisture. And they're saying that in 20 years, that cloud forest is going to be gone. And it's just going to be a rainforest. It's going to be a regular old rainforest. And while rainforests have a huge amount of diversity, the cloud forest has more. So it's going to be really sad to lose that biome, to lose those special growth areas that let certain types of orchids thrive that you can't get in the rainforest. And if you look at my Costa Rica videos where I show you the different kinds of orchids I see at the different places, you can see that, you know, the species that I saw in Monteverde were very different from the species that I even saw at Las Cruces. So that's a difference between 1,100 meters and 1,500 meters. So that's only, 400 meters difference. And both of those were very different from the kind of orchids I saw in the lowlands. And the orchids that I saw in the Gulf of Dulce were very different than the orchids that I saw at the botanical garden near San Jose, because all those biomes were different. They have the same latitude, but let's say longitude, but just the elevation, the amount of wind, the slight humidity differences resulted in a different biome that allowed different types of orchids to grow. And so that's my real takeaway from Costa Rica. If you go there, don't go to the big touristy areas, and go to the beach or whatever, right? I didn't go to Costa Rica to see beaches. I went to Costa Rica to see animals and plants because it has one of the largest biodiversities in the world. And I did that. But I also had to keep my eyes open to look for the orchids because all the orchids were small. Orchids like this Encyclia polybulbum, which I believe I did see down there growing in the wild, they're small, right? The flowers on this are small, and you have to look closely on the trees to see them. I tried to take video down there so I could show people, by zooming in and stuff, but it's hard to see. So that's my takeaway. I would love to go back, miss it already, especially, the difference between 80 degrees and minus 16 degrees. Though Costa Rica won't let me forget it quite yet because I still have a massive sunburn across my back and mosquito bites. So that's the other thing. So even though there's no malaria, if you look at the WHO rating, there's still a lot of mosquitoes there. And apparently I was super tasty. I had been bitten all over my body. So let me see if I can get another. There's no other questions. Oh, wait, here. Nico has one. I saw one of your videos in Costa Rica where the guy was talking about different types of fungus that help the orchid seeds to germinate. And I also saw seedlings on tree branches. So yes, for orchids to germinate, they need mycorrhizal fungi and every orchid species needs a different one. Now in the wild, it's just in the soil. That's one of the or it's just in the air. So that's one of the reasons, those orchid seeds float around in Costa Rica and they land on, a cocoa tree and then they make an orchid. I think I showed some video where you could see a mother plant up top and then you could see, down the moss down below it, little babies of the same exact type plant growing out of the moss. So the moss there traps the fungus, or the fungus attracted to it. It's a biome, right? Each of it's a living ecosystem on that tree made out of moss and things that you don't see like the fungus, and then the orchid, and there's other epiphytes. There are bromeliads everywhere, big and small ones. And so, they all work together to make their habitat. And so, it's probably one of the reasons, besides just that, but, so they get these to sprout in the lab. They don't give them the fungus. You give them the fungus. What the fungus does is it makes a specific set of nutrients for orchids that they need for the seeds to germinate. So orchid seeds do not have the nutrients inside them. They're very small, and they're not like a bean. Like a bean has all its nutrients inside the seed to help it germinate. The orchid seed needs the fungus to make those nutrients. So what you do in the lab is you make up a mixture, and you put it in a solid base agar, like you can see at the bottom of this. And then what happens is that the seeds sprout, the orchid seeds sprout, and they take those nutrients out of the agar. What we don't know is with those specialized fungus, if some seeds don't germinate, what specialized nutrients is the fungus making that we are unable to duplicate in the lab. So that's why, in the wild it's really easy. They sprout somewhere, the fungus is sitting around, makes the nutrients, and orchids grow everywhere in Costa Rica. Whereas, you take that same seed and you take it to a sterile lab situation, and they don't always grow. So that would be the whole fungus orchid seed connection. So sometimes you can have orchids that can germinate even on home mats. Does that mean that the orchids create their own fungus? So again, in the environment, when stuff is floating around, you don't see it, but fungus propagate through spores, and the spores are in the air, and sometimes those spores float through and they fall on something, and it's the right environment, and they will propagate. So I don't know exactly which fungus a particular plant needs, but in the U.S., like things like cypripediums that grow in the terrestrials here that grow like in northern Illinois, they're finding their fungus in the soil, so it's just in there. They're not orchids don't necessarily make them, though they may attract them and create a proper environment that the fungus is going to like, and that will cause the fungus to propagate itself nearby. Hi, Terry. I see my orchids are all dying as we speak. Well, you need to stop going to Italy, Terry, and then your orchids will stop dying. I mean, Italy's awesome, and your food looks delicious, but you suffer the same problem as I do, which is called not watering. But see, I came back and I watered today. See, I'm watering on video at my orchids, and that's why my orchids stopped dying. So what you really need to do is you need to watch my video, Terry, and go water your orchids like I am right now. See, so I'm doing it here. Well, also because my grow area is nice and warm. Your greenhouse is cold. Well, you need to add more heat, Terry. I'm totally saying you need to add heat to your greenhouse. Did you have a problem last year where you froze your orchids and then they died? Like, I mean, I froze my plants, but I'm not trying to mass murder them now. Oh, it sets off certain. Well, obviously, okay. You can't increase the heat because it blows your circuits. Well, obviously, you need to put in a bigger circuit box. Come on. I mean, you can afford that, right? More electric for your house. 2020, 210, bigger amperage. But yeah, no, this is. I feel guilty. I have to like spray all these all again because Terry's making me feel bad that I didn't water these like all in December. Water. See, guilt, it's called guilt watering. That's what I'm doing, guilt watering. I need to build a fire. Well, only build a fire with your dead orchids, right? And that way, even though they're dead, right, they are still serving the greater good by creating warmth for your remaining orchids. Okay, let me see. I do have plants up here that are still in bloom. If I can only get to them. Oop, gosh, things falling. Always the danger of things falling. I love this Spinosa. Look at this. Oh, and it has a new bloom. I mean, you can see I have an old one here that's fading a little bit. These are the older flowers. And then right down here is a newer flower. You can see how much greener it is. So I love Spinosa. This is my 4th Spinosa. I grow it in semi-hydroponics, and this one's doing okay, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Brassicattleya Spinosa does not like semi-hydro because I'm on my 4th one. And it does well for a while, and then I kill it, except for one from Hauserman's in Villa Park. I went to them and I said, do you guys have Spinosa? And they're like, I think we've sold all of them. So I had to walk all their aisles to look for this one. And I found one, or maybe 2. I found maybe 2. Now, 2 years, still alive, divided in half. There's another piece possibly somewhere that's in bark. I wanted to increase my odds. So, you know, half of it's in semi-hydro, half of it's in bark, just in case. I always put my standards up at the top of my rack because standard Cattleyas need a lot of light. So I try to light by having them up top, but it makes getting them down very difficult. So this is the other machine, and I'm out in the fall, and unfortunately, bucket. So now things are falling, but mostly that's time. But there you go. How to get a Cynvidium Tracianum. The Tracianum has a great story. I got from the Garfield Park. Show it off again. So 6 years ago, I want to say, unless my story, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, there was a giant hailstorm in Chicago in the summer, and I had this massive panic. I was like, oh my God, hail, everyone's asking me, how's my sunroom doing? And my sunroom was fine. But the Garfield Park Conservatory had all its glass smashed by the hail. It was just literally completely shattered. And they lost also their production greenhouses in that. And so in that fall, around September, October, because they had no room for all their other plants, they sold them. And I got a Massopedalia crassifolium, which I could not figure out how to grow. And 5 years time it spiked. So I clearly had no clue how to grow it. At least I didn't kill it. And it's massive. It is huge. It's so big. And I almost never take it anywhere because it's so large. I have to hug it to myself to like move it anywhere. But that is my Tracianum story. If you too want a Tracianum, you need to wait for hail to destroy a 100-year-old conservatory, and then when they're getting rid of their orchids, you need to go buy some. Yeah, that happens often, but that would be how you would get a Tracianum like mine. So I have a lot of stuff here I'm realizing that is in bud. This is really good for the upcoming show season. I mean, you're excited. Oh no, don't fall over. I've got stuff in my fogger that I'm trying to get them to be watered. So I have now run this live stream for almost an hour and a half. Not seeing any new questions. I'm also not good with coming up with reasons to blather. So I'm thinking I will end it if people don't have any questions. I have a lot of stuff that I could show if I could get them off my shelf. But one of the reasons I didn't do that ahead of time was that, of course, if I got them off my shelf, then I have to put them on the ground, and then I wouldn't be able to walk around in this room to show them to you on the live stream. So catch-22 here. I have to try to take them off to show while here, and my laptop is not very portable. So saw my Tracianum, showed you what my my Catasetum hybrids were doing. Oh, wait. So last year, I bought 4 Dendrobium cuthbertsonii. 2 of them died. Either it was too hot, they were too much. I'm not quite sure. 2 of them, and 1 of them. Yeah, that's the last thing I am going to show off. So this live stream. Thank you all for keeping me company on this super cold day.